So, hello everyone. Today we'll see the discussion of anthropology optional paper conducted in the year 2025. See, as I said, like the questions here in this paper are mostly indirect in nature and they are applied, analytical, as well as having interlinkages. So we will see each question. So first question is write a short notes on the following in 150 words, and it is asking Mendelian and non-Mendelian traits. So this is a very easy question. This answer is demanding that you write Mendelian principles and exceptions to Mendelian principles. Now, if you see these two traits, Mendelian and non-Mendelian traits, they play an important role in Mendelian genetics as well as population genetics. And Mendelian principles, you know, like Mendelian principles include law of inheritance, law of paid factors, law of segregation, law of dominance and recessiveness, and then law of equivalence. So these are the Mendelian principles, and you can give an example for each one of them, one line with example. And then non-Mendelian traits are exceptions like codominance, multiple alleles, pleiotropy, genetic linkages, multifactorial inheritance. All these come under non-Mendelian traits. So if you like write one line on each of them and along with the examples, you get good marks for it. It's a easy question, but maybe because this kind of question or this type of questions you were not exposed, maybe you may have thought twice what could be the answer for it. It is simply Mendelian principles and exceptions. Next, theoretical significance of Purum kinship system, and I think you would have studied Purum as our northeast tribe in Manipur, and they actually practice bride service. This is one of the communities which only accept bride service. And if you see, they are asking theoretical significance, so you have to draw the points from anthropological theories. Now this Purum kinship system is somewhat similar to the Trobrianders of Melanesia, where you have wife givers and wife takers, and you know the system of exchange between them is asymmetrical, indirect, and somewhat restricted system of exchange. Sometimes it is also referred to as general in nature. So you can write alliance theory given by Levi-Strauss and Edmund Leach. You can write the points from these two particular theories. Then with respect to kinship system, you can write L.H. Morgan's view and W.H.R. Rivers. So these four, Levi-Strauss, Edmund Leach, L.H. Morgan and W.H.R. Rivers, their theories and their viewpoints you have to write in this particular answer. Now this is a multi-dimensional thing because it has interlinkages, and you should have a broad knowledge about theories and their application and different perspectives. So this is about theoretical significance of Purum kinship system. Next, coming to osteo-kerato-dento culture. Osteo means bone, kerato means horn, and dento means teeth, isn't it? So this particular culture is of Australopithecines according to Raymond Dart. So Raymond Dart is of the view that Australopithecines had osteo-kerato-dento culture. That means they are using bones. Osteo means bones, dento teeth, and kerato means horns. So they were using this as tools according to Raymond Dart, whereas other scholars consider that Australopithecines had little or no culture. Now in this context, along with this Raymond Dart's views, you can also give Leakey's views. So Leakey discovered Aldovan tools from a place known as Olduvai gods in Tanzania, and this is also a debate whether Australopithecines are first makers and users of stone tools. So Leakey's view, you can write. This Leakey also discovered a semi-erect wall-like structure which was probably used as windbreaks in the same place, Olduvai gods. Now, along with this one, you can also write the Philbin's view that these people had a improved form of symbolic communication, because after studying interior surface of cranium, he was of that view. And besides that, they are definitely food gatherers, hunters and nomadics, were living in groups. This kind of basic features you can write. So they are asking about osteokeratodental culture and its makers. Its makers are Australopithecines. So this is also a very easy question. So I have to write about culture, cultural characteristics and Australopithecines. So that is about this one. Smell as a signal among non-human primates. See, in primate evolution, like say for example, Miocene is the age of apes, and in Pleistocene, early humans like our pre-humans came into existence, like Australopithecines, then Homo habilis, Homo erectus, Neanderthals, and then Homo sapiens sapien. So Miocene, which is considered as age of apes, you can see in all these evolution from Miocene, Pliocene, Pleistocene and then Holocene, the primate evolution is completed. And in this primate evolution, if you see, like you have prosimians, monkeys, apes and human beings. Like in monkeys, you have old world monkeys and new world monkeys. So all these constitute the primate. So in this course of primate evolution, you can see that most of these animals, from prosimians to monkeys to apes to modern human beings, the olfactory senses decreased. Olfactory senses decreased, but visual senses increased. So olfactory senses decreased, visual senses increased. They are more relying on vision. If you see human beings, they are standing upright, so our nose is well above the ground, and it is unlikely that we will rely more on the olfactory senses. So we started relying more on visual senses. So what I want to say here is, like from prosimians to monkeys to apes to human beings, olfactory senses kept on decreasing. That means prosimians have the strongest olfactory senses, followed by these monkeys and then apes and human beings, whereas visual senses kept on increasing. This is decreasing and this is increasing. Now with respect to this, they are asking smell as a signal among non-human primates. So after explaining this, you can see like the smell is used for communication. So maybe this you would have studied in primate behavior. So they communicate by means of different type of vocalizations, body sense, gestures, postures, and a variety of aspects they have with respect to communication. So smell is used as communication. You can give some examples. It is also used for reproduction. And a very interesting fact here is the smells that some of these non-human primates, that means prosimians, monkeys and prosimians, monkeys and apes, the the odor, the body scents that they produce will prevent them inbreeding also, because they are able to recognize their mothers or maybe their offspring by means of body scents, which prevent inbreeding in some non-human primates. It is also a survival mechanism. And here this dominance and hierarchy, say for example in lemurs, if you see, the body scents of high ranked individuals will have a different order. So you can write these aspects by citing suitable examples. So smell is used for communication, reproduction and survival. And you can see that most of these non-human primates, or maybe primates in general, are microsomatic in nature, because they are able to distinguish only few type of smells, whereas all other mammals are mostly macrosomatic, because they are able to distinguish a wide variety of smells. So that is about this non-human primates. Next one is culture and embodiment. See, embodiment means how it is inscribed and experienced. So you can write or give one or two definitions of culture and how it is inscribed. We are only, like human beings are only writing culture, isn't it? Human beings only created culture. Now we can say that culture rests on biology, but it is not biological. Culture is organic as well as super organic. Human beings create culture and ensure that they transmit it to next generation, and it is practiced, and it definitely, by means of experiencing culture, they are having some new experiences, they are again reinventing some new methods, some new cultural traits, so on and so forth. So it is a generic question. Here you can write a number of points from what is like different anthropological thoughts also related to culture, and this is how you can answer these type of questions. So this is about question number 1, and by using your basic aspects, introspecting, analyzing and applying your mind and relating to the syllabus, you should be able to easily answer these questions. And generally, if your 10 markers go well, your overall marking also will be better. This is something which you have to make sure that in the upcoming exams, like the next year or the year after, you make sure that your 10 markers you do well, because if your 10 markers you are doing well, the overall score is in general better. That is what I have observed in my years of experience. So this is about question number 1. Now next one, discuss the Miocene hominoid remains and their significance in evolution. Now tertiary and quaternary fossil primates, maybe this is one topic which you would have studied, tertiary and quaternary fossil primates. Now this tertiary period consists of various epochs like Paleocene, Eocene, Oligocene, Miocene, Pliocene, and in quaternary period you have Pleistocene, which is the great ice age, and then the current epoch, which is Holocene, which is characterized by warm climatic conditions. Now here you can see Miocene hominoid remains. So Miocene. Now this Miocene is age of apes. So maybe in primate classification you have seen Hominoidae, Hominidae. That means all apes come under hominoids, if you relate it with the classification of primates. Now in this Miocene epoch, which is the age of apes, a common ancestor between apes and human beings, which are proconsuls, evolved. Now after proconsuls, you also can see like Dryopithecus, Ramapithecus, even Sivapithecus, Orantopithecus, and then Gigantopithecus. These kind of primates also evolved, and you can see like this laid the foundation for evolution of like the later apes like chimpanzee, gorilla, orangutan, and including the pre-human ancestor Australopithecines in Pliocene, and in Pleistocene human evolution got completed, and now we are in Holocene. So you have to give, or you have to take points from tertiary and quaternary fossil primates and their significance. You should not forget this point, significance, because some marks will be allotted for significance also. So if you see the significance here, like phylogenetic studies, evolutionary biology, and also understanding how the effect of environment in all these things, that also you have to, like some 4 or 5 points you can write on significance, because this was asked in the question. So take the points from tertiary and quaternary fossil primates and then write the significance. So this is again a question which was not asked earlier, because generally tertiary and quaternary fossil primates they did not ask for many years now. That is why maybe they were inclined to ask a question here. Now compare and contrast the symbolic approaches of Clifford Geertz and Victor Turner. Now these people definitely know that these two are symbolists, isn't it? Like Clifford Geertz and Victor Turner. See, in the same manner in which they have asked, you write about Clifford Geertz and Victor Turner and their studies, both are symbolists. Now Clifford Geertz have adopted a symbolic and interpretative approach for studying of culture, whereas Victor Turner has adopted a transformational approach for the study of culture. Now subsequently you can write like the Clifford Geertz thick and thin description and his different perspectives of understanding culture, like ideal view, people's view, ethnographer's view, actual view. Those you can write, different views you can write on taking culture. You can explain about this Japanese stage shows. You can also explain about Balinese bird fights. And then in Victor Turner, you can write his study of Ndembu tribe and their communitas and other aspects. So this is how we can write. This is a relatively very easy question, straightforward question. So even if you don't want to generate side headings, compare and contrast, even if you write about those theories independently and their views to the point, I think that should justify this particular question. Now, to see if you see how political economy is integrated with ecological adaptability perspectives in biological. Now this is a very huge multidimensional question with several interlinkages, and you have to understand, or you have to write about political economy, ecological anthropology. So you can take Julian Stewart here, and biocultural anthropology. So biocultural, these two are related to Julian Stewart. Now political economy, you have to draw points from tribal economy and tribal issues and other things that we have. Now here the role of power, authority, inequality, even you can write like malnutrition, environmental climate, environmental conditions, displacement, alienation, rehabilitation, and all other aspects. Because this is a very complex and complicated question, because it requires a huge interlinkages, both from paper 1, from anthropological theories, from ecological anthropology, as well as tribal anthropology, and even power, authority. These concepts are in political anthropology. So economic anthropology, political anthropology, anthropological theories, and then what is it like ecological anthropology and tribal issues. So these are the 5 aspects which have to be, as asked, integrated properly in order to answer this question. Yes. Now, how anthropologists assess the nutritional status of a community? Maybe you would have studied like height for age, weight for age, body mass index, Shakir's bangles. These are some aspects on which you can assess the growth and development, or maybe the nutritional aspects along with growth and development of children as well as adults. You can also write some cross-sectional studies, longitudinal studies and semi-longitudinal studies also here. And significance of intersectionality with ecology, culture, social inequality. The essence of studying nutritional aspects or growth studies is to address these aspects only. The effect of environment, the environmental conditions on the nutrition, then on their growth and development, on genetic profile, and so on and so forth. And even we know that culture is built on the environment, and definitely food habits or dietary habits are a part of culture, and that is why in some societies some nutritional deficiencies are there with respect to their culture only, because they have some restrictions on food habits, or maybe even if there are no restrictions on food habits, you can experience some zoonotic diseases which are transmitted from animals to human beings. Social inequality like malnutrition, poverty, displacement, alienation from their land, or rehabilitation somewhere, or maybe poor subsistence technologies or some other aspects. You get my point. So these are all interlinked. So here in this question, along with biological anthropology, they also ask some socio-cultural aspects. Here also, like along with biology, some socio-cultural aspects. So interlinkages between biological anthropology, socio-culture here, interlinkages with biological and socio-culture. Now no notes or maybe no textbook will help you answer this kind of questions. It is your it is how you understand the subject and how you are able to apply it, that only decides the quality of answers here. Yes. Now critically examine the drawbacks in assuming culture as an integrated closed system in understanding contemporary society. Now in contemporary societies, because of globalization and various other modern factors, education, awareness or anything, people have their own way of loosely integrating various cultural aspects. Like say for example, one is not experiencing their own culture, but an individual is experiencing many other aspects of many other cultures because of globalization or media or maybe modernization, westernization, education, awareness, travel, tourism, so many aspects. So you have to make sure that you have to write certain positive aspects of maintaining cultural identity and maintaining it as an integrated closed system, but because of modern aspects, there are some negative aspects, like it may lead to deculturation or maybe many other social implications it may have. So you have to write this one by writing or seeing both sides of the coin. Next, third one, see if you can see again biological anthropology as well as socio-cultural anthropology. Differentiate between pedigree and genealogical analysis. Now pedigree was given by Francis Galton, who was the cousin of Charles Darwin in 1885, and this pedigree is a record of inheritance of certain genetic traits in 2 or more generations, through which we are able to understand the likelihood of occurrence of a genetic defect in the offspring. And genealogical analysis is the concept which was initially given by L.H. Morgan, but later it was perfected by W.H.R. Rivers after studying toadas. Now asking the history, so that so far what I have explained was history only, and application of these methods in anthropology. Direct question, isn't it? So this genealogy, we are constructing a family tree using universally accepted symbols and letters. So in this biological anthropology, we are using pedigree analysis to understand the likelihood of occurrence of disease, and in genealogy we study about various aspects of family, marriage, kinship, descent, economic activities, political activities, their religion, and various other socio-cultural aspects. So this is a method in biological anthropology, and genealogy is a method of data collection in socio-cultural anthropology. Now again, interlinkages with both biological as well as socio-cultural anthropology. Next one, anthropology provides a multi-dimensional understanding of human beings by bridging the gap between science and humanity. This is a direct question, and this was the interrelationship between what is it, like anthropology and humanities. They haven't asked in so many years, so maybe because it was not asked, they have asked this question, and it is a general question. Now write a note on Mousterian tool. Mousterian culture was actually named after the tools which were discovered in La Mousterière in France, and these are flake tools, and these tools are associated with the Neanderthals. Now they are asking Mousterian tool tradition, how they are making these Mousterian tools, or maybe the equivalent in Africa discovered near Classius River. You can see that they are known as post-Acheulean tools. In somewhere in Europe, these tools are also known as post-Levalloisian tools, because Acheulean and Levalloisian tools belong to Homo erectus, which is of lower Paleolithic. Now these Mousterian tools, and then post-Acheulean tools, and then post-Levalloisian tools are associated with Neanderthals, and then Mousterian culture. So Mousterian culture and its maker, like you are obviously writing the cultural characteristics of Neanderthals. If you want to write by establishing linkages after writing the place of discovery, and then you can write their method of making, like basically pressure flaking. So this is directly not pressure flaking, percussion as well as pressure flaking. So percussion and pressure, and usually we use the term pressure flaking, but without percussion we can't apply pressure alone. So it is percussion and pressure flaking. And then you can write about various aspects of Neanderthal culture, like their clothing, shelter, bear cult, their language, religion, their philosophy, burial practices, so on and so forth. Makers are Neanderthals. So it's basically asking the Neanderthals culture. Maybe you can add few lines on Neanderthals characteristics towards the end, because it is asking makers. Just like Australopithecines, towards the end you can write briefly about their physical characteristics. Here also, like 2 or 3 lines you can add on their physical characteristics. So this is again a direct question, but asked in an indirect manner. Now James Fraser's theory of evolution, it's a direct question. Magic, religion, science, golden bough, 1890. He is a classical evolutionist, obviously, and he says that every society underwent magic, religion, science. These are the 3 stages of culture. So simply you will write James Fraser, and you can, because it is saying critically, you have to write the drawbacks also. Now elucidate the place of religion in modernity. Now this is again a general thing, because science is considered as a modern religion, and science is more logical, rational, and it is something which can be proved, and it has some evidences. Now place of religion in modernity. Now in this context, if you see, the modern era is characterized by advancements in the field of science and technology, maybe interplanetary travel, or maybe robotics, or maybe artificial intelligence, or maybe a hyperloop, or maybe recombinant DNA technology, or genetic engineering, or maybe some other aspects. Like there are so many advancements with respect to science and technology. So earlier social scientists, anthropologists, sociologists, they are of the view that the religion will become less prominent as people become more and more scientific in nature. But contrary to that, you can see, even though there are huge advancements in the field of science and technology, people are still holding tenaciously to religion in the modern society, which is, there is a new concept which is known as spiritualization of science, because even scientists are offering prayers or performing pujas, or they are worshipping in churches, mosques, or maybe temples, so that their experiments or whatever they are doing will be successful. That concept is known as spiritualization of science. So in modern society also, you can find that religion still is very prominent and is driving the thought process of crores of people in every society. So likewise you can write its place in modernity. So it's a paradox actually, because science and religion are 2 parallel things, but people often combine science with religion, because everyone have a sense of insecurity and they want success in whatever they are doing. That makes an individual believe the supernatural power, or they resort to a particular religion. So it is your way that you understand the religion and its place in modernity. Now you can see that there is some kind of conservatism which is also increasing in every society. Every society now, even most intellectual, scientists, educated, uneducated, all people are more and more fascinated towards their religion, not only in our country, but also it remains the same situation across the world. So some kind of consciousness they are developing towards their culture, in particular religion. So you can explain all these things. So this is again a very easy question. Now multi-species, multi-sited critical ethnography. Ethnography is the scientific description of people's customs, traditions and practices by actually living and experiencing with them in their own original habitat. Now critical ethnography, whenever we see critical, we are seeing all sides, all dimensions, both good and bad. Now multi-species, multi-species is like in this context of anthropology, we study mostly about human beings, or if not primates. So primates in general, human beings in particular. But here multi-species, when we are saying multi-species, does not only includes primates and human beings, primates which include human beings, but also it includes other flora and fauna, other species, like whether it is with respect to vegetation or animals, and their impact on us. So it is important that we have to study other things also, so that we can establish proper linkages. It will give various perspectives. So multi-species, so not only studying primates in general and human beings in particular, it extends beyond that one also. Multi-sited, not only one site but across various places in the world, because this will help in cross-cultural studies, comparative studies. It will also analyze maybe with respect to migratory patterns and maybe different forms of diffusion or acculturation, and then critical ethnography. So you have to write these, what are these separately, their applications, and interlink them with the critical ethnography. So these two will help in critical ethnography. Now evolutionary significance of menopause. See, this is again, if you see, like this is an analytical one, you need to have some information with respect to the various theories which explain the menopause. Say if menopause is the cessation of menstrual cycle in female, so the period between menarche and menopause is the fertile period, and this menopause, if you see in human beings, is quite early. It's around 51 to 52 years, and you can see in all the mammals, this human beings along with some mammals like whales or orcas have a particular menopause age. That means they have fertile period only between menarche and menopause, whereas in most of the other mammals you can see that they are able to produce children all throughout their life. Now there is a linkage with menopause and their lifespan also, and parental care and dependency. You have to include them. Now if you say whales, orcas, or maybe human beings also, human beings have long lifespan and they are able to take care of their children when they are young. So parental care is more, infant dependency is high. Now with respect to this evolutionary significance, there are like certain hypotheses which were given. Maybe you know this: grandmother hypothesis, mother hypothesis, patriarchal theory, patriarchal hypothesis, and environment and climate influences on menopause. So you have to write all these things and the associated scholars who are behind these different hypotheses and theories. So this is about the evolutionary significance of menopause. So write about what is menopause, and you can also in the conclusion you can write the menopause age from earlier to now has significantly decreased. Fertility rates also decreased because of many reasons like stress or nutrition or something else like that. Next one is fission track dating method and its application. Now this is an absolute dating method. The damages and trails which are left by the decomposition or disintegration of this uranium-238 forms the basis for estimating the age. Nearly 100 crores, still 100 crores, one can estimate the age of the fossils or the archaeological remains which are present in a place where uranium-238 impurities are present. And some disadvantages here is with respect to the density and the content or the amount of uranium which is present, and like other factors. So in this kind of questions, basically you can write that it is a absolute dating method. So what type of dating method it is? Explain briefly the dating method, write applications, and then advantages and disadvantages. So this is about fission track dating method and its application. So next one is mitochondrial DNA and human evolution. See, mitochondrial DNA is a double-stranded circular DNA which is actually present in every cell, and you know that this, because of presence of this mitochondrial DNA or DNA, you can say that mitochondria is a semi-autonomous organelle. And one has to remember that mitochondrial DNA is always inherited from mother, that most probably you know, and associated with it, if the mitochondrial replacement therapy you would have studied. But here the mitochondrial DNA and human evolution. So mitochondrial DNA is also, with respect to evolution, is known as mitochondrial Eve. So it is like 1,50,000 to 2,00,000 years old, and this particular mitochondrial DNA, Y chromosome markers, genetic markers, and other aspects of these chromosomes and genes and DNA are related to human evolution. It can help understand the human evolution over a period of time. In this context, your emphasis should be writing on what is mitochondrial DNA and that particular matter, and then out of Africa theory, and then multi-regional hypothesis. Now this mitochondrial DNA supports out of Africa origin of modern human man. So your emphasis should be on out of Africa, and these are the evidence which support out of Africa theory as opposed to multi-regional, and explain a little bit about them. And if you want, if you have more knowledge, you can bring Denisovans, you can also bring other transitional forms and link them with this human evolution. Now, fetal origin of adult diseases and contribution of David Barker. So this fetal origin. So this, no need to panic about these kind of questions. You may not know about David Barker, but here you know the fetal origin. That means like the conditions on mother's womb. That is why it is said that mother's womb is more important than the home. Like, because in growth and development you would have studied intrinsic factors and extrinsic factors. In intrinsic factors, one of the factors is environmental conditions within the mother's womb. That means all factors which are affecting the mother will affect the growth and development of the fetus. That means the conditions in the fetal stage has a long-term implications even in adulthood. So nutritional factors or the health conditions or medications, contraindications, all these experienced by mother, even physical stress, trauma, all these things which the fetus is experiencing along with mother will have a long-term implications. That was a concept given by David Barker. That is what they are asking. So those who don't know about this person can actually take the support from the factors affecting growth and development, particularly in fetal stage, and you can easily write this answer. Yes, because sometimes you have to use your common sense rather than intellectual sense in order to answer some questions. So intellectual sense along with common sense will help you sail through and give answers for any type of question that may appear in the exam. Next one, what are genetic markers? Easy, isn't it? These are the genes which are used to mark an individual or a group of individuals, and their occurrence is nearly and in order to consider as a genetic marker, the criteria is they should be present in more than 1% of the total population. Only then we can consider as a genetic marker. And you can write what is a genetic marker. You can write different genetic markers like ABO, RH, HLA, haptoglobin, transferins, blood glucose enzymes, and so on and so forth, and write their applications. Again, phylogenetic studies, evolutionary biology, ecological anthropology, epidemiological anthropology, all these things, even forensics also, because the genetic markers are also useful in identifying an individual as well as a group, so it can be used in forensic anthropology. So you have to write the applications of each of these in order to answer this question. This is a direct, straightforward question. Agenda of biological anthropology became more scientific in the middle of 20th century, like maybe after Second World War. You can see that even with respect to like biological theories, like maybe in 1859 Darwin has given his theory of natural selection, 1901 Hugo de Vries has given his theory of natural selection, then 1901 de Vries has given his theory of mutations, and you have like post-Darwin theories like the views of synthetic theory or artificial theory like Huxley, Dobbs, Hansky, Fisher, Ernest Mayr, Sewell Wright. They have given this post-Darwin theories. So they also started here, like the anthropological theories, because of growing evidences. Even fossil evidences were discovered after this. Archaeological evidences like artifacts and other things were also discovered. Apart from that, it also entered into like applications of anthropology in making of sports equipment in defense, because during Second World War anthropologists were used even in making of these defense equipment and other things. So it has wide number of applications after World War II, maybe due to improvement in science and technology, or maybe due to improvement in discoveries or various other things. So it is very clear that after, from the middle of 20th century, a number of new fields in biological anthropology came into existence. So this is again a general question. It depends on how, well, even forensic anthropology you can also write, like ecological anthropology, epidemiological anthropology, forensic anthropology, then applications of anthropology in defense, sports, and then even theories related to origin of species. All these things have diversified to a huge extent. So it depends on how well you know the chronological aspects of various fields of anthropology that will enable you to write this answer. Now, describe briefly the theoretical perspectives in linguistic anthropology to explain the relationship of language, culture and thought. Generally, there are different perspectives, like, because they ask linguistic anthropology, we need not take into account the other aspect. Now, linguistic anthropology, you can take the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, and you can take a unitary view which was given by Robert Broom, Michael Silverstein and Clifford Gates. So one says that language and culture evolved parallelly, and you know that the supporters are Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, linguistic determinism, linguistic relativity. And with respect to unitary, you can write that these people have adopted a functionalist approach to the study of language and culture, and referential function, indexical function, and they consider that language and culture are one and the same, each require the other for their coexistence. So those two you can write. Sapir-Whorf hypothesis given by Edward Sapir and Benjamin Lee Whorf, and here Robert Broom, Michael Silverstein and Clifford Gates. Sorry, it is not Robert Broom, it is Robert Brown. Now, how the study of variation in the forms of marriage led to thinking on the concepts of social reproduction, kinship and family. Variations in the forms of marriage, like this is one of the reason why we couldn't give a universal definition to marriage. The same thing, this also shows the variety of customs, traditions and practices across the society. And if we are not able to give a universal definition to marriage, you can't give to family, or nor the kinship remains the same everywhere. It varies from society to society. Now you have to interlink this different forms of marriage, family, kinship and the other concepts which arise through this particular thing. So again, this is an applied one which requires interlinkages and your understanding of these various aspects and your art of writing in how you explain these interrelated concepts. Now, what are the major theories proposed in support of origin of food production? So, like there are different theories given by different scholars, like oasis theory and so on and so forth, which explains the origin of food production. Co-evolution theory is there, like there are half a dozen of theories which explain the origin of food production. So, after writing this, how the change in subsistence brought a revolution during this period. Now, we know that Gordon V. Child called Neolithic as a first revolutionary phase in the history of mankind. You can write those points related to it. So, a nomadic man became sedentary, a food gatherer became a food producer, scientific and technological advancement took place, which has a lot of implications both from biological perspective as well as socio-cultural perspective. So, those things you can write. Now, critically discuss the centrality of African continent. See, the centrality of African continent. See, Africa, like out of Africa theory, it comes from the discoveries only. Like with respect to archaeological evidences are always favoring Africa. Whether you take fossils constitute to only less than 1% of the total archaeological evidence, but majority of the fossils were discovered from Africa. You take Australopithecines, you take Homo habilis, you take Homo erectus, you take some Neanderthals which were distributed in northern parts of Africa, and even modern humans. So you can, all these fossil evidences with respect to not only like pre-human ancestors till modern humans, but also even non-human primate fossils are also abundantly discovered from So because of evidence will lead to explanation. Explanation will logical explanation along with proof will result in wide acceptance of a particular viewpoint. So fossils, you can see majority found from here. Even you see artifacts are nothing but the tools. You can see most of the tools were discovered again here, and that is why earlier once they have asked Aldeby Gorge for 10 marks. Now it is an extension of that question only almost. Apart from that, like eco facts, like ecological facts, even features, these all discoveries are mostly pointing towards here. And even the climatic conditions of Africa in the primitive times along with the subsequent environmental changes allowed preservation of fossils and also evolved evolution also. So that is why you have to explain all these things and also add a note on out of Africa theory. So this is about it. Now critically, when they say to counter argue multi-regional hypothesis, you can write how the theories of postmodernism are relevant in promoting social justice empowerment. This is just like postmodernism, because they were against power and voice, because they are postmodernists are of the view that these colonial ethnographers belong to powerful and dominant cultures, and people did not share their views and opinions properly. Even if they wanted to share, the colonial administrators stopped them from talking. So whose view anthropologists or ethnographer captured and how inclusive were it was a debatable thing. So definitely they want to empower marginalized communities or communities which are not so dominant or powerful, because it is asking to take multi-vocality. That means take the views and opinions of majority of the people even within a community. And they were against previous ethnographers because they did not, most of the time did not take the opinion of a female. So here this postmodernism is promoting feminism also, isn't it? Likewise, you can write the features of postmodernism and answer this one. Next, genome-wide disease association. This is actually an extension of one question which was asked earlier, which is SNP, single nucleotide polymorphism, which again helps in the study of this epidemiological aspects, nutritional aspects and variety of things. So you have to relate genome with the other things, and you need to know specific information. Actually this question was recently in the recently held mains of Jammu and Kashmir. They asked similar question. Now they ask, that means it shows that UPSC is definitely asking questions related to current affairs and the advancements in the field of a particular discipline. So this is this requires some applicative knowledge and information on current affairs. Next, examine the utility of human remains in forensic anthropology. It is a forensic, different methods of identification of an individual that you can write, and discuss facial reconstruction technique. Now 2D techniques are there, 3D techniques are there, computer aided techniques are there, photo superimposition is there, clay modeling is there. You need to explain them. This is an easy question. Now you can see that from this question paper it is quite explicit that UPSC want to encourage only those students who have access to authentic resources. So people reading some institutes or toppers notes will no longer be benefited, and they don't want it. So reading authentic sources is definitely the need of the hour, not only now, even in the future to come or any time, because only by reading authentic sources you will be able to answer these kind of questions. By studying only one institute's material, or maybe by studying like toppers notes or maybe some online resources, that may not be of any help. Reading a good authentic book will definitely help you develop a broad knowledge. It will help you to establish forward and backward linkages, even interlinkages, and even it will help your brain to analyze, process information so that you will be able to apply them. So reading authentic resources is very important. Current affairs or current updates is definitely required, because you need to know what is happening in the subject so that you will get the leads on the important areas on which a question can be asked. So you need to keep a track of current affairs, and more importantly practice a variety of questions. Nowadays, this has become a quite common habit that every institute is claiming that all these are from our class notes, all these are from our test series, or maybe just by practicing the previous year question papers is enough. So these are all myths. This is not reality. This was not the case even last year, or this was not the case even last to last year. For the last 4 years, there is a the subject has become quite dynamic and vibrant. It can be clearly seen from the way that they are asking question, and it is very important that you practice a variety of questions. Think on every topic in what way a question can be asked, which will actually improve your analytical mind. So make sure you practice a variety of questions. So these are the need of the hour: reading authentic resources, keeping yourself updated with the happenings in the subject, and practice a wide variety of questions, and always keep yourself open to learning. Don't close your don't remain close to information or maybe a variety of questions. Your brain should act as a sponge rather than a stone, particularly when you are learning. And if you want to excel in the the exam, and if you want to score good marks, make sure that you read authentic sources, current affairs, and practice a variety of questions. And these kind of marketing gimmicks that including many institutes, maybe we also will claim that these questions were asked in our test series, these are directly from our class notes, but these are not true. And I would strongly suggest that you should be very genuine in your approach, and you have to keep yourself away from these kind of false marketing gimmicks, which only try to lure and restrict the learning capability of the students. So again, I want to emphasize this. These questions, maybe the concepts are definitely discussed. Definitely, with respect to syllabus, we cover everything, but interlinkages wherever required we may be discussing. But that analysis, interlinkages, and the current affairs and updates should be the responsibility of the student. Yes, make sure that you, again, authentic resources, current updates, practice a variety of questions. These are the need of the hour. And in order to excel, definitely make sure that your basic concept is strengthened. So this basic concept can be strengthened either by reading this authentic sources or standard textbooks, rather than resorting to a shortcut reading some coaching institute's material or maybe a topper's notes is of no use for sure. And if you have that financial leverage to take coaching, you can attend some classes anywhere who would cover the length and breadth of the syllabus, who covers all the topics which are given in the syllabus, and who demonstrates good command over the subject. So either you can read authentic sources or standard sources by self, or you can take classes from any of the institute where you find suitable for you. So basic concept can be strengthened like this, and after that analysis, like introspection. You have to think, you have to process the information which you have studied, and you should be in a situation to apply this one. This is more important for me, followed by basic concept, because this needs real investment of time. It also involves introspection and thinking from a variety of angles and trying to find information related to a particular topic. So analysis and applied aspect, not only in anthropology, it remains the same for GS and SA also. And then keep yourself updated with the current affairs. So like current affairs magazines on anthropology are released by many institutes, even some individuals. So you can follow this in order to keep yourself updated with the advancements in our field, which is anthropology. So make sure that you do this, and top on that, make sure you practice well. Work hard. There is no substitute for hard work. and the more you work hard, the better are the odds of scoring more marks and getting through this particular exam. And please don't find shortcuts or rely on substandard source or be lured by any institute's marketing gimmicks or hi-fi claims or super claims that everything is from our class notes or test series is just a myth, and it is simply diverting the students from their goal and making them resort to substandard efforts and making them forget that hard work. And then always, like, people are always under smart work, they don't want uh, students, because it's like it's not a fair thing which is going on. And at least students should realize now and understand the value of taking a proper route by relying on standard sources rather than finding shortcuts and resorting to substandard methods of learning and substandard way of preparing for the exam. For those who have written this exam this year, I wish all of them a very good success, those who ever worked hard and who practiced in the right direction. And for those youngsters who want to write in the subsequent years, I wish them all the best, and I wish, hope and pray that you at least take some points which have been suggested in this particular class. Thank you very much.